a legend of the Australian Football Hall of Fame and now a member of the North Melbourne Football Club Hall of Fame. Let's welcome to the stage Barry Cable. Thanks, Ron. You'll take that for Barry? Yeah. Say a few words, mate.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ron, firstly, and ladies and gentlemen. I just need to say a couple of things, probably first. My wife that's sitting down the front there with my grandson, Joshua. I just want to thank Helen very much for her involvement with my career, and that's why I want to say it first, because we started together as two 15-year-olds, and this year we're together for 58 years. And I know that'll embarrass her, but that's just a fact. And Helen was a very clever young lady herself at school, and gave away her career for me to pursue mine. And she's been doing that now for all that length of time, and it's absolutely fantastic. To Ron, I can remember Ron, I think it was 1979, Ron came to Western Australia and came around home and had to talk to us about North Melbourne, and they were going to do all these wonderful things, and he had all these wonderful players, and Keka was one of them. And I'd read a little bit about Keka and found out a little bit about him and thought, yeah, that would be a good combination, Keka and I together. Ruck, Rover, all that business. And anyway, when I got here, of course, Keka had done his knee. And then there was a couple of other recruits that Ron was talking about that never eventuated. And so we just ended up with an average team, but all the boys we put in 100% every week. There wouldn't have been any one of us that never gave everything that we had. We just weren't good enough. We just never had a good enough players. And at the end of the year, I didn't leave because North were poor or because we didn't play well. It was just the fact that we'd signed a $70,000 guarantee that I had to go back to Perth. That was the Perth Footy Club, not me, by the way. And so at the end of the year, I went back and had to go back to Perth. Stayed there for 71, 2 and 3. And then Ron came again, and I think I'd like to thank him very much for his persistency. And for Helen's acknowledgement of the fact that we'd done everything that we could in Western Australia, and why wouldn't we go back and give North Melbourne a hand? Because then Ron said the great Alan Aylett was going to be president of the club. Alan, great to see you, and Marge. And also Ron Brassie would be the coach. And a gentleman that's not here tonight, who was a terrific guy at the time, was Albert Mantello, but I believe that Alan's looking very well at this stage. And so there were all these people that other people have also mentioned names about people who have been really fantastic to the North Melbourne Football Club, and people who I became to love and really cherished their commitment and their dedication to the club. So Helen and I had a good talk about it. We sent Ron home. We didn't tell him that we would come. We just said, see you later, Ron, catch up with you, and I'll give you a ring, or I'll send you a letter in those days. It could be email today, it'd be not a lot quicker. So Helen and I talked about it because we had two young children. They were really small, Barry and Shane. And so it was a family decision, and we decided that, yeah, we'd come. And so we really came to help North Melbourne. I didn't come to prove myself as a player. I think I'd already done that in interstate footy many times. It was just the fact that we felt that here was an opportunity to help a club that needed some support and help. I was very fortunate to come at the time because we had some other terrific players that came across to North Melbourne at the time. So as a group of players, coaches, administrators, I think that we started something at North that now is continuing on to this very day. And I've been very proud and privileged to be a part of that. Just to meet all of the people, the first day that we won, 75, the premiership, just the people that came up after the game crying and saying, you know, we never ever thought we'd live to see the day that North Melbourne would win a premiership. That was enough for me. I thought that was just absolutely fantastic. They didn't have to say any more. because it was just that type of commitment by them that followed North through the real wet days, the cold days, the good days and the bad days. So it was just a great reward for them. It was certainly a great reward for the committee who put themselves together and put themselves through a lot of problems, and also to the players. We had a fantastic bunch of players that came from all over the place, put ourselves together as a team, and we did the job. And I've been very proud of that, humble about it, by the way, as well, because I've had a fantastic career in terms of success, and I put that down to the clubs and teams that I've been with and the players that I've played with and the committee people that have been involved. I'm a great believer in always looking back and thinking of all of the people that have been part of what has been part of the team. And to me, that's been more important than anything else. We as players, we just do our bit, and if we can do that, I'm happy about that. To Jimmy, fantastic, James, okay? I remember Jimmy Cracker when he came from Mount Barker up to Claremont. I chased him around at bloody East Perth Oval, couldn't catch him. I was at the end of my tether in those days, so I just had to hope that he'd run into somebody where I could catch him. Him and Phil. And then I said, if you can get hold of those two, we're going to be okay, because they're a couple of great players. And we were able to get hold of them. To Wayne Swash, well said, Wayne. I thought you spoke very well this evening. And it's great that you think of everybody, because it is important. But at the same time, I think you've got to take a lot of credit to yourself too, mate, because at the end of the day, you've got to do the work, you know. And to all the other people, and I believe Steve-O's coming up at some stage this evening. Steve-O, well done. Obviously, you've been a fantastic person to the North Melbourne Footy Club, played well, and have really put everything in, and well done to you as well. So I'd just like to say to everybody at North Melbourne, we love you as much. I've got a grandson here at the moment, Joshua. He's my eldest grandson. The unfortunate part about Joshua is that he works for Collingwood. He's in the media at Collingwood, so when you see some of that stuff on TV, that's him. But at the same time, he's very good. All my grandchildren are all North supporters, including Joshua. So he disguises it pretty well at Collingwood, don't worry about that. I've spoken to Eddie about it. He's a North Melbourne man. Now, I've also got a grandson, a little one. He's 10, he's the youngest, and he's probably going to be the biggest out of these blokes. This guy's about 6'3" or 4", Joshua, and all my kids are all very tall, by the way. You say, how did that happen? I don't know. Better speak to Helen about that. Now, the other thing is, I've got this other little grandson. He's only 10 at the moment, but I think he's going to be bigger than all of them. And where's Brett Harvey? Brett's around somewhere. Brett, where are you, mate? He loves you, Brett. And he loves you, Brett, and I'm a bit worried because he's always talking about you, and he says, oh, this guy, Brett Harvey. And I'm just worried that, you'll still be around when he's old enough to play. So I'll be able to go back to him and say, look, Brett's still waiting for you, mate, no worries. But look, thanks very much, really appreciate your company, and I have got no doubt that we loved our time here in Victoria, still do, by the way. My wife comes back and shops and spends all my money. It's a wonderful evening, and I'm sure that you all appreciate, and I hope you do. And let's get behind the Kangas. We've got another 3 or 4 real serious weeks in front of us. We've got one next week, West Coast Eagles, and we're going to knock them off over there. Thank you.